The reason that you may have an accent when you speak in American English is because you're using a completely different rhythm than what native speakers are using when they talk. Part is because English is a stress time language, whereas your language maybe is a syllable time language. What does that even mean? Today we're going to be taking a look at rhythm and stress patterns to see if you are doing what you need to do to have the most natural accent in American English. Good morning, guys. Good evening. Good afternoon. Welcome to your daily American English pronunciation show, which is Wake Up American. We are here typically between the hours of 7 to 8 a.m. New York, Monday through Friday, to make sure that you can get in your 5 to 10 minutes of practice for a day. And to guide you in that process, there's me. Hi, my name's Geoff, or Rhymes with Breath. It's one of the 4 keys to a natural sound in American English, including placement, pitch, breath. Trying to weaken your consonant sounds in order to strengthen your vowel sounds. We'll be talking about some of those concepts, for instance, like pitch and things, but let's maybe have an example sentence to look at. What's up to Emmanuel hanging out with us in the chat? Okay, so I was working with this sentence with a student just a couple of minutes ago, and it's kind of a mouthful. There's a lot happening here. So how would you try to get this to sound the most natural? Well, I think the very first thing that we need to understand, again, is that English is a stress time language, so it may help to have some stresses, okay? And from what I remember from the native speaker, I don't have the audio here, but the native speaker, what they were saying was they stressed again, two, top, and one. So again, they stressed again, two, top, one. Okay, so let's kind of just get into the rhythm for this. So again, two, top, one. Just kind of say those words a couple times. Again, two, top, one. And try to do that again. See if you can get the rhythm here. Because it's almost like, for those of you who are music trained, it's almost like a 4/4 kind of beat. So again, two, top, one. Again, two, top, one. Again, two, top, one. Okay, so you see kind of our rhythm there? Okay. So let's maybe add a couple of words. Let's put the words before each of the stresses. Let's add those. So again, to cut. Oh, let me do it again. Again, move to the top each one. Can you do that? Again, move to the top each one. Okay, so notice that even though we're adding words, we've doubled it almost completely, but the rhythm is still maintaining the same, right? Again, to top one. Again, move to the top each one. So even though we're adding words, the time isn't changing. Okay, so we're making it longer, but we're making the sentence longer, but we're not doing much else in terms of actually taking up more time. Okay, so let's now add maybe 2 words before each stress. So again, to move 2 from the top of each one. Can you try that? Again, to move 2 from the top of each one. Again, to move 2 from the top of each one. See how the time is still the same. Again, 2, top, 1. Again, move 2, the top, each one. Again, to move 2 from the top of each one. Do you see what's happening? And then we can add, let's maybe add the rest of it. Again, I'm going to move 2 from the, let me do it again. Again, I'm going to move 2 cards from the top to the bottom of each one. Again, I'm going to move 2 cards from the top to the bottom of each one. Again, I'm going to move 2 cards from the top to the bottom of each one. Do you see how we just built everything together? It went from again to top, 1. Again, move 2, the top, each one. Again, to move 2 from the top to each one. Again, I'm going to move 2 cards from the top to the bottom of each one. Do you see that as we add the rest of the words together, the amount of time it takes to say the sentence doesn't actually change that much, even though we've added, 4 times as many words from where we started. This is a key component of American English. What's up also to Taki hanging out with us? In American English, we are stress timed. What does it mean to be stress timed? It means that we put more weight on the words that are emphasized. And if you're not stressed, we're going to make you faster, lighter, and weaker. This is the reason why if you listen to Americans talk and you're like, I don't even understand what they're saying. I don't hear them saying the words. Like I see the transcripts, I see the words that they're saying, but then when they talk, I don't hear them. Like they're just eating their words. They're lazy speakers, quote unquote. Right? But the reason is because we're thinking about the language from a whole different rhythm perspective. We're forgetting that English is stress timed. And because English is stress timed, I have to squeeze a lot of words into a very finite, small space. And so, how do I do that? Well, if I'm trying to get all of this sentence to fit into my main boxes, again, to, top, one. If I'm trying to fit an entire sentence into that span of time, something is going to have to get crushed or squished or compacted. Okay, so what we do is we make the words that are not stressed weaker, faster, lighter. Okay, so let's just do that progression one more time for your practice. Just start with the stressed words. Again, to, top, one. Let's put the words before each stress. Again, move to the top, each one. Let's add another one. Again, to move two from the top of each one. And then the whole thing. Again, I'm going to move two cards from the top to the bottom of each one. Again, I'm going to move two cards from the top to the bottom of each one. Okay. Now that's not necessarily the same rhythm they had when he's talking, but we're using this as just a stress, music, rhythm kind of exercise. So practice this, take a sentence, find your stressed words, add a word before it or after it, and then add another, and then gradually adding your whole sentence together and see if that leaves you with a sentence that is able to get the rhythm you're looking for. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I know there's a lot of pronunciation resources out there, so the fact you are here is greatly appreciated. I will see you all later. Hope you have a good day, have a good night, and a good afternoon.